So this is where we're staying in the Cotswolds for tonight. Let's take a look inside. So as you go through, you can see the door just on the right. That is the door that leads to the main house, which is owned by Sarah, who's the host. But these annexed rooms are for just renting out on Airbnb. So there's a really comfortable bed, which is made up of 2 single beds, which I believe is a king-size bed. And you can see George is just unpacking some things. There's a small kitchen, which is really useful just for having a small meal, as well as a fridge, which makes really no noise at all. And then through this room is the bathroom, and yeah, it's a pretty standard bathroom. The hot water runs really quickly, which is always a plus. And yeah, hello. Sarah, the host, was amazing, and she even made some flapjacks, which we ate whilst we played the game set.
It's stressful. It's supposed to be relaxing. It's not. I've never been more stressed in my life. Half the time I'm looking at the cards, and the other half I'm looking at you to see if you're looking at the cards, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I should be looking. Oh.
Set. No, not set.
You said set, you have to get rid of one.
Hang on, maybe I can make one.
No, that's cheating. This is the stress we're dealing with. I think you'll have to use one.
No, not.
You couldn't find one.
No, hang
there
on.
There we go.
That's not fair.
The bed was so comfortable, we both ended up taking a 2-hour nap, which was a fantastic start to our trip. The reason George and I wanted to get away and to have this experience was to challenge ourselves, and it's actually part of a bigger plan where we want to try and push ourselves to get out of our comfort zone so that we embrace every opportunity that life has. Home has become this place of safety, but also having that safety has made going out and experiencing new things a little bit more scary, which is why we want to regularly get out and do things that we wouldn't usually do.
This place is so calm and beautiful. I don't even need to use a microphone because it's not even windy here. It's amazing. And the scenery, oh my word, just have a little look around. It's absolutely heavenly. The sun is there, but also in the background just there, that's the moon.
In reflective moments like this, I find myself wanting to say how lucky I am to have found George and to have this really loving and supportive relationship. But I think by doing so, I'd be completely neglecting the fact that we've both put so much work into building this really stable and supportive relationship. And actually, it's the everyday efforts that creates such beauty. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not the perfect couple. We squabble over stupid things, we get distracted by life's busyness, we don't always make the best decisions for both of us. But it's always nice to remind ourselves of what we have together, and that is a mutual desire to make both of our lives better for each other and to share our life with one another.
George has now disappeared into the distance. I feel like I need to call to see where he is. That echoed a lot. Oh my gosh. It worked. He's just around the corner. So I can actually see why people yodel on mountains. If you've never tried it, next time you're somewhere high, just yodel as loud as you can and you'll realise how effective it is. You know, my voice is echoed. I wish when I'm teaching I had the same echo on my voice, but that'd be really helpful. Clinging onto bits of grass to help me up. It's quite steep here. Gosh. Oh. Oh. There we go. Okay, George says that's the worst of it. Dear. Hang on. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay. Lovely. Can't believe it. Currently, there's 6 people and 2 dogs that would have heard me yodeling. And yeah, do I feel good about that? I don't really know how I feel about that. So last night we had a really comfortable sleep. It was an amazing Airbnb and the total cost was £70 for the night, which I think is really, really reasonable, especially given that it's right next to that beautiful hill that we climbed yesterday. So I will leave a link in the description so that you can check it out if you fancy going. The following morning we decided to visit the Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Railway, it's quite hard to say, for a day out on the rails. We're on the wrong side, so we have to run through fields of wheat.
What's the naughtiest thing you ever did?
This feels very Tuesday.
I have to confess, when me and my friends sort of used to run through the fields of wheat, the farmers weren't too pleased about that. Nobody's ever perfectly behaved, are they?
Yeah, after all that running, we're hoping that we can now buy our ticket to the platform. But I don't think there's anyone here, so fingers crossed.
The reality was, for this station in particular, we were supposed to have bought our tickets before midnight, but we didn't, so very kindly the conductor said that we could just buy them when we got to the final station, which we did. This moment really brought out the inner child in George and I, and it's one of those simple pleasures in life that you forget that you really love. After settling down in one of the fancy compartments which were very comfortable, we set off for our day on the rails. This is take 200 of trying to say this. The Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Steam Railway, there we go, runs between Cheltenham Racecourse and Broadway, which we've got a really good video on. And it was restored in 1981 by volunteers, and it's 15 miles of line, which was previously dismantled in, I think, the 1950s or 60s, not too sure. I just checked, and obviously they didn't just shut the whole line down in one go. They closed signal boxes, stations very slowly, and it was over the span of about 20 years, over the 60s and the 70s. So George, can you tell us why you like trains?
Chuff, don't you? Don't get it that close up as well because I've got all red eyes and a hay fever. So.
What I find most impressive is that this was all rebuilt by volunteers who gave up their time to do something that they loved. It just shows when people get together the power that that has, and I think that we see it in every day-to-day life. It's really nice to find out what you're part of and to be part of something that you love doing. Who knew that travelling on a steam railway could do such a thing? We almost didn't get off at Toddington because George, I think, was waiting for the door to open either automatically or with a button or for someone to do it, and didn't realise that you have to stick your arm over the top to open the door to get out. The gardens of all of the stations were so beautiful, and I think the volunteers had paid so much attention to detail with all of the flower beds and the hanging baskets too. Today was a very special day for rail enthusiasts at Toddington Station, as a train had arrived on lorry-back. This was so impressive just to see the scale of the lorry and the train on top. Most of us use train stations to pass through as a means of getting to a destination, and they're very rarely the destination, but I was surprised at how much there was to do. There was the signal boxes, which were so much fun to see how they work, and also you can go into the sheds to have a look at all of the locomotives, and let's not forget the cafe, which was actually so good. I was distracted and didn't end up filming, but I had a really nice lemon drizzle cake, toasty, and a nice cold drink as well. The cost of the journey, the return journey from Gotherington to Toddington, was £18. You could get a kind of day saver where you can travel on any of the lines at any time, and that's £26, which I think is really reasonable, and I think that you easily could spend an entire day for as long as they're open there, because there is so much to see at each of the stations. For those of you who really like the history of all these things, there was so much to see. Our favourite section was learning about the history through the World War. I find that's quite an interesting part of history, and I really like seeing just the old packaging on common things that you see every day today. With 10 or so minutes before the train departed, it was time to soak in the last views of the station and then board the train ready for our return. I'm going to recommend that you watch the Broadway video, which I mentioned earlier, as it's in the Cotswolds and it's a beautiful place. I do hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment too. But until next time, take care and see you soon.